We're ready, Mayor.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the City of Saratoga Springs, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at 6:01 p.m. I, Jim Miller, the Mayor of the City of Saratoga Springs, hereby determine that conducting the City Council meeting at the anchor location presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location. The World Health Organization, the President of the United States, the Governor of Utah, and the County Health Department have recognized a global pandemic exists related to the new strain of coronavirus. Due to the state of emergency caused by the global pandemic, I find conducting a meeting in anchor location under the current state of public health emergency constitutes a substantial risk to the health safety of those who may be present at the location. This written declaration expires at 30 days from the date signed. So expiration is April 30th, 2021. We'll be going back to in-person meetings next month. So call to order. Tonight we have Councilman Podeska, Karn, McComber, Wilden, and Porter. Roll call. So we do have a quorum. Councilman Podeska will be offering our invocation, and Councilman Porter will lead us in our pledge.
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this opportunity to meet together virtually as a city and council, and we thank Thee for the technologies that we have that make this possible. We pray for Thy Spirit to be with us throughout this meeting to help us in conducting the meeting well and accomplishing the goals that we have in place. We also thank Thee for the news of things opening up slowly and during this pandemic, and pray for those that are still experiencing that they'll be kept safe. We also thank Thee for our armed forces and our law enforcement and other services that help keep us safe and functioning through these times. We pray that for those that are not with us, that they'll be kept safe and be able to join us next time. And this we say in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay. Public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments for subject matter not listed on the agenda. Owen, do we have anybody in the waiting room?
We have Nate Ship, but he's here for his items, but I do have two public comments to read in, Mayor.
Perfect.
The first is from Shane Lawrence. He says, first, let's clarify what are the rules about construction hours of operation and construction traffic through closed neighborhoods for the new medical office being built between Riverside Drive and Redwood Road on Pioneer, adjacent to Dalmore Meadows subdivision. These guys attached, he sent a video to us, were maneuvering cement mixers and cement pump trucks at 5 today, which is a pretty noisy operation for that early in the morning, especially less than 50 yards from homes, less than 10 yards in some cases. Then after the first round, as we were leaving the neighborhood around 9, several cement mixers came through the Dalmore Meadows neighborhood to access this construction site. Now there is already a no exit or not through traffic sign at Redwood entrance, but what can be done about this? Lastly, what are the long-term plans for Dalmore Meadows access? The next one is from, hello, my name is Bryant Baird. I am an owner of a single family home with a large unfinished basement in the Talus Ridge community, currently zoned R110 as low density. I initially worked with the city over a year ago to determine if I would be allowed to complete our basement in a way that would allow me to make it available to renters. It was rightly determined that due to the zoning requirements of the area, doing so would not be permitted. However, after the passing of HB 82 by the state of Utah earlier in March, it seems that this may now be an option. In summary, as I'm sure you're aware, the bill states that a single family homeowner, as long as they are living at the property, is allowed to rent out their basement as an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, regardless of current zoning laws by the municipality. This is an attempt to assist with the current housing crisis that our state is experiencing. In the bill, the state of Utah does give municipalities a say in which areas can and cannot be used. For our city of Saratoga Springs, the city can determine up to 25%, if any, of all residentially zoned areas in which ADUs would not be permitted. It makes sense to me that increased on-street parking would be a concern, which could be mitigated by a driveway extension, but I'm not aware of what other concerns, if any, the city may have with allowing such an option in a low-density neighborhood. I want to be a good neighbor in my community and address these and other concerns, but I also want to create a win-win scenario which would help with both my family's expenses as well as increasing the housing inventory in our state. Many members of my family who are currently students at local universities may be forced to move elsewhere upon graduation because they are simply being priced out. Just as every vote counts and just as every vaccination counts, I believe that every housing unit available can also make a difference. Given this recently passed bill, I have 2 comments to share. First, please consider excluding the Talos Ridge community and other low-density communities from this restriction and allow for the creation of basement ADUs. Second, how can residents be notified and involved in the city's response to HB 82? I look forward to helping create manageable growth for our city. Thank you for your time and the incredible things that you have done for our city. I am proud to be a resident of Saratoga Springs. Those are the 2 comments, Mayor.
Perfect. Mark, on the first one, has staff had a chance to go out and check the construction site?
Yeah, we forwarded that along to Public Works for the building inspectors. Now, the bottom line is we cannot restrict construction traffic through a residential neighborhood. So unfortunately, I understand their concerns, but we will certainly work with the inspectors and make sure that they're not out there doing construction activities outside of the construction time frame, which I believe is 7 a.m. until, I can't recall, but I think is it 7?
That's restricted between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. in a non-residential zone.
So anyway, but we did have Public Works go out there and communicate with them from an inspector standpoint. On the second comment that we got, and again, this is just more for council's understanding, that bill does allow you to exempt up to 25% of the community where ADUs would not be allowed. So for example, let's say some existing homeowners associations and things like that would not want to open their neighborhoods up. The council could make that determination and decide which neighborhoods they wouldn't want to. We have until October to get that enacted. And so we'll be working on that and coming back to the council, seeking your input and guidance on if neighborhoods should be exempted or not. And we'll bring that back to you at a later point.
So you'll be working with engineering to determine sewer, water, because I know a lot of the older neighborhoods were built for 4 people, and doubling it to 8 impacts the sewer and the water for neighborhoods.
Sure. Well, and there's a tricky part to this as well, because it's based on the total area of the city. And so we'll need to take a look at that. There are some HOAs that have CC&Rs that would prohibit this. And so we'd probably want to work with those HOAs and determine if that was something that they would want to do. And again, some communities might be okay with it. Other communities may not. Again, we'll want to try and, come to a good solution, present you all the information, and let you make a decision based on that information.
Perfect. Thank you.
We're basically looking to make city neighborhoods fight each other. That's what's going to happen. Because there's going to be 2 sides.
Yep.
The chicken debate, Jim, is good.
Just one thing to add, Mark, if I may.
Hold on 1 second.
Actually, okay, go ahead.
One thought. The one thing I was going to say is you do not have to extend that to any community. So you could make the entire community 100% ADA friendly or ADU friendly if you choose. So again, it becomes that question of would we want to work with those particular neighborhoods? Kevin, thank you.
Oh no, I just was going to point out that there were 2 parts to the bill. The first part goes into effect May 5th, and then the second part that allows those ADU restrictions that we can impose that goes into effect in October. But the first part of it actually says that we cannot define a single family dwelling to restrict the number of unrelated people living there. So you'll see a code change coming within the next month that addresses that. So staff is going to work together to come up with a definition of single family that doesn't refer to unrelated people, but has basically a cap on the total number of people that could live in one single family dwelling. So we'll be seeking the council's input on that, like I said, within the next month.
Perfect. Okay, there's nothing. Oh, Chris?
Yeah, thanks. I don't know, do we need to look at our code when it comes to commercial zone that abuts a residential zone and what time construction can take place in those? 6 a.m. is pretty early to run concrete trucks right next to people's yards, even though that there's a commercial zone there. I don't know when you want to revisit that or not.
Well, it's not. Maybe I misheard, but I mean, it'd be the same if they were building a house next door as opposed to an
I
office.
think the residential zone requirements are different than the commercial zone requirements.
They're 7 o'clock instead of
Yeah.
6.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
So they can run 6 a.m., but that 6
They can run
a.m.
an
is
hour
right next to
earlier if
someone's
there's a commercial
house.
zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to look
Chris,
at that, if there's a
good
buffer that can be put in place.
We may want to
Maybe it's where the noise can be heard. Maybe it's the parameters of the noise pollution.
I was thinking like a buffer area or something.
Mm.
Yeah, just, and we can look at that to see what other cities are doing because, if I had commercial next to my house, I know that going in, but 6 a.m. is pretty early to be running construction equipment next to my house. I have a hard enough time at 7 a.m.
I agree with that as well.
Perfect. Okay, so Mark, you got that for staff?
And Mark, does the House bill address the ability for HOAs to restrict ADUs?
It specifically prohibits them from this point forward. If they're not in that 25% area for the city, then they would not be able to restrict them.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. We'll close public input at this time. Move on to reports. Are there any reports from the council? Okay. The only thing I have, and we all got the department updates in our packet for the passport office. I ran into some people who saw that we opened up our passport office. They canceled their appointments at the Lehigh post office, came out here and said it was very pleasant, very professional, and very quick. So they were very excited, having done passports in the past at Lehigh post office. They were very excited to see this out here in the community. So thank you, staff, for getting that put together and getting all the permitting for it.
Does Eagle Mountain have a post office, passport office? Have we advertised over there? We need to talk to maybe talk to the mayor and council there, Jim, and see if they'd be willing to put something in their newsletter.
Yeah, we can do that.
Offering that service to them, something that, they can put in their monthly newsletter.
Perfect. Okay. The consent. Oh, Mark, anything from administration?
No, Mayor and Council, we don't have need for a closed session tonight.
Perfect. Okay, consent items. We have items on the consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of the consent items as listed on the agenda, items 1 through 11, with any staff findings and conditions.
Yeah, first from Councilman Wilden.
Second that.
Second from Councilman Karn. Mark, you had a comment? I
do want to just point out that awarded the bid awards that were received for the Lake Mountain Zone 2 pond earlier today. We are going with, I believe it's M&T as part of that. So again, that it can stay exactly where we're at on the consent calendar, but I just wanted to make sure you were aware that that was the recommendation for that item.
Perfect. Okay. First and second, roll call. Councilman McComber.
Aye.
Karn.
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Wilden.
Aye.
Tedesca.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We have a public hearing on the Water Conservation Plan update, Ordinance 21-8.
Jeremy's got that for us.
Oh, I'm sorry, I cut out. The item.
Water Conservation Plan, Jeremy?
Yes, Mayor and Council, by state law, this is required to be updated every 5 years. We've worked with our consultant to update this with new goals and numbers. As you are not, as I'm sure you would not be surprised, we met and exceeded our previous goal of a 25% reduction. Since our last conservation plan, we've done, I would say we're one of the leading municipalities in the industry as far as water conservation. We've done a really good job documenting everything we've accomplished in this plan, and set forth a few new goals as we move forward. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
This is a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing. Please limit comments 3 minutes. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please be respectful in your comments. Owen, do we have anybody here for the public hearing?
We have 2 attendees, but again, I think they're for items later on the agenda, and I'm not aware of any comments that were sent in.
Okay, then I will close the public hearing and open it to the council for any questions. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, entertain a
Move
motion.
approval of the water conservation plan update, ordinance 21-8 dated today.
I'll second that.
I have a first from Councilman Porter, second from Councilman McComber. Any further discussion? Wilden,
Aye.
Podeska,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Karn,
Aye.
McComber.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We have business items. Do we want to Mark, can these be done all together or one at a time? What's the best?
Sorry, we had a public hearing on alcoholic beverages as well as a public hearing on campaign finance as well. Did you want to skip those?
Those were on the consent calendar.
They were on the consent calendar,
the-
those items.
Yeah, Mark, those do not require public
I apologize.
hearings, those ordinances.
I was looking at an earlier draft of the agenda, so my apologies.
Okay. Like, I didn't see an updated
Mark's trying to
agenda.
pull stuff off of the consent calendar.
Nope, I apologize. That's on me.
Okay.
Mark wants to delay the meeting, make it go longer.
Yeah. Not
Ties
good.
too tight.
When's his next review? I'm just kidding.
Hey, business item, Tibby, you want to do them all together or one at a time?
I can do them all together, actually, if that helps.
Okay. Perfect.
And this should be
All related. Mhm.
So for business item number 1, we have a major amendment to the Wildflower Community Plan. This consists of the summary here provided by the applicant of minor changes, text changes to the development standards, which requires legislative approval. There's also an administrative approval here for the density transfers. These currently fall within the approved community plan, so that only requires administrative approval. Staff is comfortable with the proposed changes with the following exceptions here as are summarized in the conditions of approval. So staff does not recommend a change to the definition of native open space. We would like the applicant to maintain the trail connections that were currently in the community plan. And that we are asking that the applicant show at least one side of the public street as asphalt and one side as concrete. In this amendment, they're proposing both sides to be asphalt. And we are also recommending that there is no zone classification change for the commercial type 5 standards. And at this time, here we go. The next item here, we have Village Plan 7 and Village Plan 2. These are both new village plans and they comply with the proposed community plan. So these 2 items can be considered by the City Council if the community plan amendment is approved. So at this time, I'll turn this item back over to the council for questions.
Okay. Comments from the council? Does Nate have anything he'd like to add before we get going?
Mayor, I appreciate that. Well, maybe just to add that we've appreciated being able to work through these items with your staff, and the exceptions to our request that the staff are proposing is something that we do support. And so at this point, we would prefer to move forward with the recommendations of the staff included or amended to our proposal.
Okay, thank you. Council?
My question is with oil prices going up, asphalt is actually going to become very expensive. If you see the futures on asphalt, it's going way up. Does Nate want a clause in there that would allow him to do cement on both sides, or now we're going to force him to do asphalt on one and cement on the other? Because you're going to see prices of asphalt are going way high.
Our standard though has been to have
Cement.
that one side for the jogging and
Yeah.
side the cement. I personally think we should keep it that way through the whole city like we have.
I would agree.
I believe, Mayor, the standard is that's on Redwood Road.
Redwood Road.
But,
Yeah.
but not in these types of scenarios. So this would make this scenario match the Redwood Road cross section. So again, we're comfortable with that as staff.
Okay.
Nate, the question to you is do you want to leave flexibility to go concrete on both sides, or are you happy to accept asphalt and concrete as your final answer?
Well, final answer. We are committing to you as a city and the residents of Wildflower to provide jogging trails specific for those types of use, which I think is why we asked for this kind of a surface to begin with. And I think we need to stand by that as a developer. So the final answer would be obligate us to do one on each side.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, any other comments from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll take a shot at it. I move to approve the major amendment to Wildflower Community Plan located at approximately Harvest Hills Boulevard, Mountain View Corridor, based on the findings and conditions in the packet. Can I make a motion on all three items?
Yes.
Okay, so let me start that over. So I move to approve business items 1, 2, and 3 as stated on the agenda with all findings and conditions by staff in the packet.
Okay, I have a first from Councilman Karn.
I'll second.
I have a second, Councilman Podeska. Any further discussion? Councilman Podeska,
Aye.
Karn,
Aye.
McComber,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Wilden.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Nate, I think that's the shortest time we've had one of your projects in a meeting.
Either it was
Wow.
done or you're wearing us down, one of the two.
Because he's so dressed up.
I think I'd put that to the staff in their preparation and bringing a proposal to you guys that has worn us to the point that we all know it needs to be. So congratulations to your staff.
And thanks for sharing the news that the title work and stuff's done for the potential cemetery site with Camp Williams.
Yes.
That is great news for the community, and look forward to moving forward on that one.
I'd like to get a field trip up there sometime. I've not been up there.
Oh yeah, that was pre you, huh? We did the
Yeah.
field trip there.
That was actually really informative to go up there and see.
Yeah, I'd like to get up there.
Seeing that native ravine, that it's really interesting what they have to deal with around that. So
We've moved over 500,000 cubic yards of dirt at this point. It might not be bad for all of you to come back up and see what we're doing, because the landscape up there has changed with the construction since you've been up there. I'd be happy to arrange another tour of the property if that would be of interest to you as a council, or whoever on the council would like. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, Mark, could we arrange that for the council? Because I would like to go up and see the cemetery site in person. We've seen the topographical and the lines, but also to see what changes have happened since we started that.
yeah, I think that'd be good. It wouldn't hurt to get some pictures too.
Yeah. We'll have Wilden pose in the cemetery.
Yeah.
I'm
Zombie.
Okay, there's no need for closed session this evening, so I will adjourn the meeting.
Wow, you broke a record, Jim.
That's pretty quick. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Well,
Thanks everyone.
Mayor, don't we have the CDRA?
Oh, we do have
that too.
CDR.
Yep.
You can go, Nate. Lucky.
Okay, we will go into our CDA community.
Oh, our other meeting, our other board. Yeah.
Yes, the other board.
So Mayor, if you would, if you could read the same COVID statement that we read earlier, maybe abbreviate that since the last meeting is adjourned and we're heading down.
I want to hear it with some real emotion this time, Jim. Come on.
Please.
I'm worn down from reading this thing. Can we just say as stated on the agenda, Mark?
Nope. I want to hear some emotion. I need to hear a tear. I want a tear.
I want to know you believe it, Jim.
Well, legally speaking, I think you could just reference the statement on the agenda. But
Kevin,
I'll reference the statement on the agenda.
I can't lie, so I'm sorry, the rest of you council members.
Perfect. Okay, we will call this meeting to order on Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at approximately 6:27 p.m. for the Saratoga Springs Community Development and Renewal Agency. Present tonight, we have Board Member McComber, Board Member Karn, Board Member Porter, Board Member Wilden, and Board Member Podeska. So we do have a quorum. We have the public hearing on approving the fiscal year 2021 CDRA tentative budget. We do both public hearings together.
Yeah, you bet. You
Okay.
bet.
And the public hearing on the resolution for the fiscal year 2022 CDR tentative budget.
Yeah, so Mayor, I'll take that. I let Shalice go early on good behavior today. What the budget is set up to do is this project area is specific to our downtown redevelopment agency, our community development agency. So we're pretty excited about that. Because we did not set a budget last year, because we were anxiously awaiting for construction activities to happen, we need to adopt a tentative budget this week for both 2021, which is our current fiscal year, and 2022, which will be next year. And then we'll come back in a couple of weeks and we'll formally adopt those budgets, just like we would in the regular city council meetings. But again, this year's budget for 2021, we're budgeting a variety of things to the tune of about $310,000. It's going to be a partial year based on partial year's performance of our contract. And so next year's budget, you'll notice it a little over doubles and is at 760 for 2022. For that. But again, we've got some money for planning, for reporting, and some other things. Also, there will be some discussion later in this meeting about, potential future CRDA areas and things of that nature. But again, that's what we've got proposed, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on that.
Okay, we'll open it for public hearing. Please be respectful in your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetitive comments. Owen, is there anything sent in or anybody in the waiting room?
Nobody in the waiting room, and we did not receive any comments.
Okay. What? I will close the public hearing for this. And is there any question from the board? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move as a board member approval
Actually,
of public hearing. What?
I just noticed. Kevin, does it matter? He wasn't listed as a board member on the agenda.
What the heck? I'm out of here.
Many
really?
apologies.
What was that?
No, I would think that's kind of scrivener's error.
Okay, perfect. Go for it, Board Member Wilden.
Don't be a baby. Do your motion. You're on mute.
You're on.
Nothing's going right. I might as well leave. I'll move that we approve public hearing items 1 and 2 as stated on the agenda.
Okay, I have a first from Board Member Wilden,
I'll second.
a second from Board Member McComber. Any further discussion? Okay, Podeska,
Aye.
Wilden,
Aye.
Porter,
Aye.
Barn,
Aye.
McComber.
Aye. We've all had mute issues today.
Motion passes unanimously. Business item, discussion of future project areas within the city.
Mayor, our board members, chair and board members, wanted to just quickly bring up this as an item. Again, during the legislative session, if you recall, there was a discussion of creating a tax overlay around the Utah Lake Authority bill. Just so you're aware, I'll be meeting with Representative Brammer later this week to discuss the next version of what that Utah Lake Authority bill is. We still have begun the work to look at other project areas for the city. Tonight is not about going into what that area is going to look like. What I wanted to do is quickly gauge from you as a board, how would you like us to address that? And if you want, we can bring back when we do our final budget amendments, maybe a little bit more in-depth discussion about future project areas where we might want to look. And again, I'll have some more information after this week that may be germane to that conversation. But again, if you want to start thinking about, in your minds, what's the project area going to look like, or do we want to continue with that, or do we want to just put that on hold? Do we want to shrink it a little bit? What might that look like? And so again, just putting that out there for discussion, and then for us to follow back up on at a future time.
McComber?
Yeah, so I personally, and in all the years that I've been on the council working with all of you and some of you for many years, we have talked extensively about developing and having a more of a commercial feel and lakefront feel along our waterfronts. So this is something we've been talking about for over a decade. We put in a zone, a waterfront zone. We created a whole zone. That took a lot of effort and a lot of time. And we discussed what we were hoping to accomplish there. We gave incentives for businesses to come. And so I think that it makes sense from my perspective to look at pieces of land, maybe not like one lot in a neighborhood. That doesn't really make sense because we're not going to put a commercial place like if one lot's left on the lake in like the lakeside development or something, but where we have bigger pieces of land within a reasonable walking distance of the lake and our river, the Jordan River, and looking at putting that into a development zone. It makes sense because then we would have another lever to pull if we chose to help businesses, encourage them to come. It could even be a potential resort, a hotel maybe wanting to be on the lake or the river, or other rental facilities that might want to rent equipment, a restaurant, a pub, who knows, right? Different things that, that people might want to do in order to represent all the different demands that the lake has. So that would be my thing, is I think that I would like to continue that conversation and have a development zone along the lake and river. Mayor, turn the time back. Oh, sorry, board chair, turn the time back over to you.
Perfect. Are there any other comments from the board?
I would just second that, that sentiment there. Yeah.
Perfect. So Mark, you got the direction?
You bet. And thank you very much. Interestingly enough, when we have our council retreat, I can go into a little bit of an update with you. We've had some good conversations, and we're hoping to try and get some good reports to you at the retreat on what's been going on in that front. So I think you'll appreciate that, and we'll continue this conversation.
Can you remind me when the retreat is?
It's May 14th.
Okay,
Friday, May 14th. Yep.
I'm in town. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Friday, May 14th. So again, the last item that we really had besides minutes and adopting the minutes was, as a board, you're required to do your annual public open and meetings training. This training, you've gone through it before. We went through it a little bit earlier this year as a city council. And so we're going to repeat that all verbatim and take the next 45 minutes to repeat that and just drag you through it as painfully as possible. No, in all seriousness, it's the same exact issue from a board. It's really important just to remember the same rules apply for an Open and Public Meetings Act as a board member as it would a council member. From a pragmatic standpoint, in future years, we'll do this training in a little bit. We'll do it probably in tandem with it. But remember, there's no communications that are authorized between council members, texting and things like that, or emailing during council meetings. Your actions, anytime that there's two or more of you board members together, that becomes subject to open meetings. Again,
sorry, you said two or more. You mean more than two? More
than two, correct.
Yeah.
The same requirements would fall in place with grandma and public meetings and all of the same things. So again, not to belabor it, but again, think the exact same rules apply relative to your board appointment as that. And if you have any specific questions, Kevin would love to spend plenty of time visiting with you individually, or Kyle Fielding, who will be our attorney for the CDA, would be happy to spend more time with you. But unless you have any more specific questions about that, since you've already done the training, it's an exact mirror of that.
Okay. Yeah. So if I can just add, Mark, really briefly, I did send out the council a PowerPoint that goes over all those details on the Open and Public Meetings Act. So you are more than free to reference that or ask me or Kyle questions about that. I did want to go over just a couple legislative changes, Mark, just in less than 1 minute. The first one is with respect to electronic meetings. You may have noticed that Jim has started reading that declaration at the beginning of the meeting, or I should say, the chairman has read that declaration. That is a requirement now if you're not having an anchor meeting. If you do participate electronically, and it's not a pandemic type of situation, you have to provide an anchor location, and you have to provide a means for people that members of the public to participate electronically. So that's a change. We haven't done that in the past, but that is a legislative change. So if any of the council members want to participate electronically, that also means we have to allow the ability for the public to participate electronically and have an anchor location. So that's one of the changes. We'll work with Nikki and Cindy on that. The other change, and this is more of a city recorder and I don't know what we call the secretary of the CDRA. When it comes to minutes, we used to, within 3 business days, have to make a copy of the written minutes, the approved written minutes, available to the public. Now we have to actually post a link to that on our website or on the Utah public notice website. So those are the 2 main legislative changes that came about this session. And also when we had the special session. Anyway, any questions on any of that?
I actually do, Kevin. Just to clarify, so if all 5 of us, or let's say that someone's taking a day off, they're not going to be on the council, they're not remoting in, do we still have to allow for the public to remote in? Or is it only if one of the council members is remoting in on that week, we have to provide that for the public?
Yeah, I think what it says is if there's a member of the public body participating electronically, that we have to make that as an option to the public as well.
So it's just on those occasions when we're out of town. Okay.
I believe that's what it says. I'll double check and get back to you.
Perfect.
I'm assuming all of our lessons learned in the last year make that easy to do.
Yeah, and it may be that sometimes we might just not want to deal with the hassle of that, but let me look. I can actually look at that. If anyone else has any questions, go ahead and ask, and I'll look at that right now.
From a philosophical standpoint, it may beg the question of, is remote participation truly what you want to do, or would you rather just not deal with that? So again, that's your decision as a board or as a council, depending on which meeting you're talking about. There was another change that was discussed, and we can get you more information on this as well. But that was, since the newspapers have gone to one time a week only print media. There's some discussion as to how do you do your public notices going forward. And so the league brought that up as a training item, and there'll be more information that comes out on that. But that's actually becoming a very interesting discussion as well as far as posting for public meetings going forward. So again, we'll keep you up to date on that. Unless you have any other questions, I think, Mayor, that concludes what we had for tonight, except for the minutes.
Yep. I'll entertain a motion from the board for the minutes.
I'm sorry, just if I can just touch on that legislative change. It actually, I misread the statute. It says may provide a means for the public to participate. So it's not a requirement unless we have an anchorless location. So sorry, I was just doing it on the fly, but I apologize for that miscommunication.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, I'll entertain a motion from the board for the minutes.
Are the dates on the
I
minutes
move to
correct?
approve the past minute.
Okay, I think I had a first from Vice Chairman Karn. And
Nope.
What?
Second.
No, Michael, I think, made the motion, but I asked the question, are the dates correct?
Oh,
September 17th, 2019.
Those are our last minutes.
If that's before
Yeah.
my time, do I sit this out?
You still vote on them.
Okay.
okay, so I had a first from Board Member McComber, a second from Board Member Porter. Any further discussion? Okay, Karn,
Aye.
McComber,
Aye.
Wilden,
Aye.
Kadeska,
Aye.
Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously, and we will adjourn our CDA meeting.
Still broke a record, Jim. Good job.
Yes.